Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I was going to start off with this. This is Jason Cousins from Glint. He's the CEO of Glint. He says central banks create inflation. They inflate the money supply, money printing, which leads to the rising costs of living. And this article says inflation may hit 15% as Bank of England hints higher interest rates. Now, folks, this is why I got Glint as a sponsor, because this is my hedge. I have my Glint account. I buy gold in it. I've been accumulating gold in my Glint account so that if things get really rough, I'm going to have my Glint MasterCard debit card, and I'll have my gold sitting there that I can actually spend on groceries or meals or anything else that has been killed because of, in terms of prices going nuts because of inflation. And because of what Jason Cousins is saying, those central banks printing money out the wazoo, okay? Now, I thought this was a great tweet to start any video with because I love the concept. It's because it's true. XRP settlement can happen any day, any hour, any minute. This is a true story. We could have, this could come out of nowhere. We just don't know at this point. But at this point, because that judge weighed in on those Hinman emails and said you have to show them now, SEC is appealing that decision, but still, at any moment, I mean, these guys could literally have a settlement worked out behind the scenes that says, look, if she orders us to show these emails, not happening, so we'll settle at this. Who knows? But it could happen at any time. I mean, that's the deal. Now, today, I wanted to show you this. This is my list that I keep telling you about on Coin Paprika. Let me do a little refresh here. These are my favorites. I'm actually logged in and I've created this list. This morning, you'll see that a lot of the things are down. And so I did a reverse, like these are the best returns. And then this is the worst on the day in the last 24 hours. So it's Theta, Quant, Cardano. Today I went and I bought more Quant and I went and bought more Cardano. So this is kind of how I do it. The things that are down the most, those are what I focus on buying if I'm in a position to buy that day. Now, the history books should call this period the age of lies, because just like our government does with inflation, they don't include things that should be included in the inflation number so that the inflation number looks lower than it really is. Well, now the White House has decided they're going to lie about what's called a recession as well. What is a recession? While some maintain that 2 consecutive quarters of falling real GDP constitute a recession, that is neither the official definition nor the way. In other words, they're going to change the definition of what's called a recession so that they can go into this next election cycle and lie and say there is no recession, when all of you out there feel a recession. Now, and again, this doesn't have anything to do with party to me. A lie is a lie. Now, what they then did is they sent out their lying news agents, financial news agency that is propaganda for the government of the United States, and got them to help perpetuate the lie.
On Friday, with the employment cost index, all of this comes with that white paper from the White House that Becky was talking about, arguing that we're not in a recession. And Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, she took to the air yesterday on Meet the Press to make the point.
A recession is a broad-based contraction that affects many sectors of the economy. We just don't have that. Consumer spending remains solid. It's continuing to grow.
What they should have done is just sent Janet Yellen out on TV and prepared this statement. We here in the government, we think we're smarter than all of you morons out there. We think you're stupid and we're smart. And so we've prepared this statement to try to sell you a bunch of BS that we know is not true because we just think you're a bunch of idiots. That's what she should have said if she wanted to tell the truth. And then, of course, Steve Leisman gladly will sit there and toe the government line no matter what kind of BS they're floating out there. Now, speaking of BS, here's Gary Gensler, Digital Perspectives. Now, I mentioned this briefly yesterday, and I did not say that that there is an XRP shortage. I put that on my thumbnail, but that's just a attention grabber. What I said is that Brad Combs and on his channel had floated this possible theory, and he didn't say that it's a fact either. It's just a theory, that this idea that maybe Jed McCaleb's wallet was what was funding these retail exchanges with XRP, and that is a possibility that's cut off now because the wallet's out. It's just a theory, but it's an interesting theory. And for that reason, we talk about it here. So he's got one, Ripple stopped selling XRP secondary exchanges Q4 2019. 2020, Ripple announces buyback of XRP in the secondary market. 3, Ripple enters lending with XRP credit lines, fund global payments. 4, Jed McCaleb sells out 9 billion XRP. 5, is retail being phased out? That's a great question. SEC uses Reeves test. Now, let's watch this.
Those in the payment business, central banks and private sector have started to think about payment systems a little bit different. There's some competition, so to speak, from decentralized, bearer forms of value transfer. Now, some people will call it currency, but none of these projects have really taken on a full general embodiment of a medium of exchange, unit of account, and store of value. Like incentives here to use a bearer form of value transfer. And that's what a lot of this is. It's a bearer form of value transfer. We are in enforcement action. Yes, it took the definition of what is a security. In that case, I think it might have been the Howey test, but it might have been another one. It's called the Howey test. There's other broad brushes with regard to this as well, as to when something is a note, called the Reeves test that Thurgood Marshall wrote.
Also interesting that the settled order fines, when I say fine, there's the...
This guy talking is one of Ripple's, I think it's Brad Garlinghouse's attorney.
Finding something, it's not a finding that's legally binding. This is the way that these settlements are styled. But the commission found that this lending product was a equity security, an investment contract, but also that it constituted a note under the Reeves test. And they set that out, the commission set that out in the settlement order. This is a way, I guess, of giving some kind of guidance through this settled order of how expansive the commission believes the Reeves test is in relation to lending products, not just equity security, but also, in their view, a debt security. Clearly has shown some appetite under certain circumstances, potentially to give a path for registration. And the question is, at what cost? Is this something that's practical for all companies that have these kinds of lending products? Are others going to follow suit? Because clearly there must be other inquiries going on of similar products, since again, BlockFi is not the only one out there like this. So that's my perspective on it. I don't know if others have views, because I do think this is an effort. I don't know, Steve, if you can talk any more about it, probably not, but to give some information to the marketplace. And those are my personal views about what the commission's trying to do. But if you can elaborate on that for us, that'd be great.
Yeah, I can't elaborate in any way that you would enjoy, I don't think. But I don't disagree, however, with your read of the order, which does, to me, make some significant findings regarding the application of Reeves and the note analysis to.
Now, what they're basically saying here is that this is a scenario where my understanding of this is that under the Reeves test, XRP could be called a note, the equivalent of like a bond, which would be a security. And in this same scenario, there's a potential that XRP is only to be held by accredited investors. Now and who knows, maybe anybody who's not accredited, if you held it, could be grandfathered in. I don't know, but these are interesting concepts, and they're interesting things to throw around. And in that scenario, yes, they would drain the retail XRP out of these exchanges because it wouldn't be available anymore. Now, check this out. This is a great tweet. Chief Legal Officer for Coinbase, the largest exchange to delist XRP because of the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. Now the SEC is flat out saying that these tokens are securities. Some are ETH contracts. And Coinbase is allowing continual trading still. And I said, when will you be delisting all these securities? Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, Kraken. You didn't even have to think about delisting XRP. And then I tweeted this out, retweeted it, said, I think Coinbase, Brian Armstrong should not only delist those 9, but also Ethereum, just to be on the safe side. That's kind of how they've always treated XRP. They're just so worried about not making any mistakes. Well, a lot of those are ERC20 tokens that the SEC is now saying are securities. So I think if they really want to be safe, Coinbase should delist Ethereum, and so should Kraken, and all of these exchanges that delisted XRP. It's just too dangerous. You got too much liability there. What's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? Now, I was watching an interview this morning with Jimmy Valley, and there were several clips that I wanted you to see out of this. Here's the first one.
As we went into,
it's important right now in the environment we're in. I spent over a year going video by video, uncovering some of the things he's talking about here. And it's literally surreal for me now, a year and a half later, to be watching these summaries of what went on, because we pieced it all together and nobody helped us. Nobody in the crypto industry, except for people in the XRP community, army, whatever you want to call it, nobody helped us. John Deaton helped us. Nobody outside of this community helped us piece it together. Nobody would have ever found it. If these greedy SOBs had just gotten their Ethereum free pass and left Ripple alone, it never would have been discovered. But they couldn't do that. So listen to this.
As we went into the bull run of late 2017, early 2018, XRP outperformed both Bitcoin and Ethereum just massively. And I think it became very obvious to anybody who was paying attention. I was not one of those people at that time. I would come along later. But for the people who were paying attention, it was obvious that XRP was a better asset, right? For the purpose of, exchanging value, making payments, and certainly cross-border payments. Those other two projects just would not be scalable because of the proof of work limitations, whereas the consensus limitation the consensus protocol was just better. So at that point in time is when the shenanigans start to happen. In January of 2018, both XRP and Ethereum hit what at that time was their all-time high. XRP has never returned to its all-time high since once the weapons came out. Ethereum and Bitcoin have both passed what the all-time high was back in 2018. They passed it in this last bull run that we were going through, 2020 and 2021.
Exactly. Now, these clips will make you furious, and they should. But you got to see them to understand. And I want to remind everybody, not one congressman, not Warren Davidson, not Tom Emmer, even the guys who are the good guys in crypto, not one has called for any of this to be investigated. And we must demand that it's investigated, because you cannot build the next financial system on a bed of lies.
Hinman goes up on stage during this conference. At the time, when he walks on stage, Ethereum is down 60% from its all-time high in January. Ripple's down, XRP's down as well. And he walks up and he effectively says, based on all of our analysis and all this, heavy thinking and deliberation, all this stuff we've been doing, we think that Bitcoin is sufficiently decentralized to not be a security. So there's really no reason to apply the disclosure regimes and the requirements of the securities laws to Bitcoin. And it probably would have been fine if he'd have just stopped there. But then he says, and also, for basically the same reasons, putting aside the fact that they had an ICO, putting aside the fundraising they did in connection with the creation of the project. So ignore the fact that they had an unregistered securities offering. We think now Ethereum is sufficiently decentralized, and therefore there's really no benefit to apply the securities laws to Ethereum.
And the money,
he drops the mic, he walks off the stage, and the price rockets within the minutes after he says this, makes this pronouncement, it rockets up 11%. It was so shocking. It was so parabolic of a move. Okay. Remember, it's been going down, 60%. 60%. And then it just rockets right off as he walks off the stage. It was so shocking that the moderator of the conference, basically in an excited utterance, which is admissible in the court of law, by the way, it's an exception to the hearsay rule. In an excited utterance, as he's talking to one of the founders of Grayscale, I think, who's like one of the largest, crypto investment funds that there are. He's basically got the chart behind him, and it's this massive, video wall, and it's going parabolic, and they're like, look at that. He said moments after, Director Hinman's speech, it went to the moon, and he basically says, you see why insider trading is illegal, right? He just kind of just says that like off the cuff because it was so shocking, right?
All right, and now here's the final clip. Now this one should really make you furious. Regulatory capture. This is what they did, folks. This is who these people are. You got to see it.
5 days before the lawsuit, there was a former SEC commissioner, a guy named Joseph Grunfest, who is a major corporate securities lawyer himself and a professor at Stanford Law School. He wrote all 5 commissioners because he had gotten wind that they were planning to bring this enforcement action against Ripple, and basically pointed out to them, A, there is no factual distinction between what XRP has done and what Ethereum did, that you gave a free pass to in Bitcoin. And B, it was known at that time that basically the top executive level management of the SEC was all going to be departing in the days around when they were going to be filing this lawsuit. And if they did that, it would basically, he said, you could destroy the entire legacy of the Security and Exchange Commission. It's going to be viewed so poorly that the people who bring this case then turn around and walk right out the door. So 5 days before that vote and that they commenced the action on the December 22nd, they had full knowledge from a very well-respected person, one of their peers, about what could be the fallout. He also mentioned that there would be billions of dollars in damages immediately in the market, and that you hurt ordinary, investors. Kind of your ordinary rank and file retail investors were going to be substantially harmed. So December 22nd, they filed the suit. December 23rd, Jay Clayton, who's the chairman of the SEC, leaves the SEC. So they filed the lawsuit. He walks out the door, goes back to his law firm, Sullivan and Cromwell, which is Consensus's law firm. Okay, they represent the third-party promoter of Ethereum, and within 2 months, he joins a hedge fund called One River. One River, we would come to find out, had just made a $1 billion bet in October of 2020, basically a month and a half before the lawsuit was filed, on Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Wow.
Look at the guy interviewing him. He's like, wow.
Wow. I mean,
it's a classic definition of regulatory capture, where the legacy banking system, together with these kind of venture capitalists and hedge funds, conspired together to go after the number one competitor of their project and actually have regulatory action taken to basically crush the competitor and let the others go. So Bitcoin and Ethereum went on to far exceed their all-time highs in the year that followed.
Man, when I hear that, what I'm sitting here thinking is, imagine if I'm the guys at Ripple and Ripple's attorneys, imagine all the people, the venture capital firms and all of these people that Ripple and their attorneys are with this information. I don't think Ripple had this stuff that we found over the course of the last year and a half. I don't think Ripple knew all this. But imagine if you're Ripple and you're Brad Garlinghouse and you're those guys, and you're now equipped with all of this information, and you know exactly what all of these people behind the scenes conspired to do, think about the position that puts you in. I think it's unbelievable, the position they're in. I can't even imagine. If I was betting, I bet Ripple's attorneys are literally salivating like a junkyard dog ready to go after some people, if I was betting. And maybe they're trying to get past the SEC case first. But just imagine the people that they're looking at going, oh, okay, so this is what you did. Now we know. Well, check this out. Naveen Gupta, proud to connect QNB Group. Let's see what this is. QNB Group, the official account for Qatar National Bank Group, our biggest partner in MENA with ChinaBank in Philippines, bringing RippleNet's customer experience to Filipinos in Qatar, supporting Qatar as its host, FIFA World Cup 2022. They ought to make XRP the official digital asset of the FIFA World Cup 2022. Wouldn't that be awesome? I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family. Wouldn't that be cool? XRP, the official digital asset of the FIFA World Cup 2022. In fact, World Cup's coming around. I don't even watch soccer, but I do watch that when it comes around. I'll look forward to that. Maybe they'll have Ripple advertising there.